in. Let me do that again. Hey, curl friends. What is up? How is it going? Girlfriend, it's been so long, it feels, but like not really at the same time, if that makes sense. You let me know who's in the chat because I want to know exactly who we're connecting with today. Yes, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lavinia Latham. I am the founder and CEO of Find Natural Hair Rocks. So super excited to be here today. Thank you so much for just being a part of today's live stream. We are, of course, going to be talking about 5 things you should stop doing to your natural hair. Now, if you are doing these things to your fine natural hair, you want to make sure that you stop doing those things because they're not going to help in terms of length retention, anything of that nature. It's really going to make those length retention harder, not easier. And so, that being said, let's just hop into the first one. So, the first one is going to be avoiding trims. Girlfriend, I have been somebody who used to avoid trims. And when I was avoiding trims, I really didn't see the length retention. I really didn't see thickness. I didn't see anything good, to be honest with you. It was really bad. Hi, Relis. Also, before I hop into this a little bit further, I do want to say if you've left a comment on Find Natural Hair Rocks, this week was insane. So if I haven't been able to get back to you yet, I will definitely get back to you as soon as possible. Hopping back into the tip, yeah, you need trims and not just self going to a trusted stylist. Now, when you go to a trusted stylist, there are certain questions you have to ask. There are certain approaches to this that you need to take. So for example, I've had it, let me know in the comment section if you've been the same, where you've gone and gotten a trim before and you ended up getting burned, right? Like in the sense of like they either cut off too much or it was like a choppy trim, or maybe they cut off too little and you ended up with like the same issues you had before just as quickly. That's happened to me. I've definitely had too much of a trim. I've definitely had too little of a trim. And, when I've had too little of a trim, it caused issues because, the ends are still breaking off. And when I had too much of a trim, it caused issues because we're on a length retention journey here. And losing tons of length is not something that is necessary to maintain the health of your ends, the health of your strands. So that being said, number one, of course, is of like stop avoiding trims. You absolutely need, to get your trims. Number two on the list is installing tight hairstyles. So if you are somebody who likes to slick it all back, you're somebody who likes to make sure it's laid. Hi, Doom. You're somebody who, you really just like that look where everything is just and in. Girlfriend, you're gonna have to let that go if you're trying to grow your fine natural strands, because the tighter your hair is, the more there's excessive tension, is the more it's just gonna pop right out, right? And we don't want that. This tip also applies to protective styles. So oftentimes we apply protective styles, things like box braids, things like kinky twists, things like goddess locks, and the application of it is just too tight. And it's not just too tight on the edges, it's too tight on the hair, period. So being very mindful of the styles that you're putting in, whether it's with your own natural hair or if it's with added extensions. Relis says, yes, I trim my own hair now. Fantastic. So that's really going to make the difference. I would say, just keep an eye on that situation. If things are looking like they're not as smooth as it could be on wash day, usually needing a trim can be to blame. And sometimes we can be trimming our hair and not necessarily doing as good of a job as a professional, just because they can see the back of our strands in ways that we can't, right? But for those of you who are like Relis and you're able to do it yourself, by all means, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Blazing Saddles, what's up? Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining back here on Find Natural Hair Rocks. The third tip that I'm going to say to you is that you want to make sure to stop installing heavy styles on your fine natural strands. So this is a cousin of the last tip, which is to avoid tight hairstyles. But secondary to that, but just as important as that, is that you want to make sure that you're not installing heavy styles. So heavy styles could be, again, the heavy twists, the heavy braids, the heavy wigs. There are heavy wigs out there, girlfriend. Those are the things that are going to break your hair on off. And so if you can avoid that, I guarantee you're going to start to see more strands. Oftentimes, when there is breakage within the hair, your hair is thinning out. It's not related to a medical concern, but it's related to your practices. You can 9 times out of 10 point your finger towards a hairstyle that you had excessive shedding in, and that excessive shedding was then like a sign of like breakage. And breakage from the heavy tension from the hairstyles that you were imparting on your strands. Now, of course, that's not going to be your situation. If you are somebody who likes to wear natural hairstyles, then in that case it's fine, because your natural hair is going to be as heavy as your natural hair can withstand. But if it is added hair, then you want to make sure that you're not doing that. One thing that I like to do when I am installing extra strands on my hair, so when I'm using extensions for braids or twists or whatever, I like to make sure that the actual part is a lot thicker than the amount of hair that I'm putting on, because that then kind of controls for the thickness of my strands, which are, by themselves very fine, can't really handle much. It kind of saves for that. So because the parts are a little bit bigger, there's more strands to hold the heavier hair. You use a little bit less hair, and you kind of play with it like that in terms of the aesthetic that you're trying to achieve. But if you are one of those people who has fine hair and you want like a super full looking braided set, or twists, or whatever the case may be, if health is the goal, you might have to compromise on that in order to gain the thickness and the length that you're looking for. The next one on this list, so we said avoid trims. Two, you want to avoid tight styles, avoid heavy styles was number three. The next one for number four would be the heat styling tools. So, right now I've got my hair in a flat iron set. I did not flat iron my hair myself. I did go to the salon to get this done. It's finally starting to thicken up a bit, and some edges are starting to come through. Praise God. Like, honestly, you will see in the weekend video. There's a weekend feature video coming out on Fine Natural Hair Rocks, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm super excited. I will tell you, since you're here in live, and those of you on replay, gang, you'll hear it too. It's a longer video, so get comfy, get relaxed whenever it drops, because it's gonna be a fun one for sure. I think it's about 30 minutes. Like, we've never had a 30-minute video here on Fine Natural Hair Rocks, and yet here we are. So super exciting. TJ, hey girl, hey. Patricia Jenkins, what's up, girl? Hello, chat. Patricia Jenkins says, yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, tip number four, of course, was avoiding those heat styling tools. But if you are using them, you want to be using them with a stylist. Now, even when my stylist uses them on my strands, some of us might not have access to funds to go to a stylist. Maybe resources are tight right now. That's real, right? So in that case, I would say make sure that when you are using heat styling tools, that you're using best practices, that you're getting advice here on YouTube. If you are using YouTube for your learning, you're looking to actual stylists who can give the advice. So don't lean into my tips, because, girlfriend, I don't know what I'm doing as it relates to heat styling. Like, that's why I don't do it, right? But there are people here on the YouTube streets that definitely do have solid hair practices. They can show you the technique. They can show you how much is too much for fine strands. They can really give you the information from the standpoint of somebody who's an expert, has been there and done that, and does it for a living. That is very important as it relates to using heat tools. I wouldn't lean into anything less than that. In terms of the fifth and final tip of things you should stop doing to your fine natural hair, is rushing it. So honestly, at the end of the day, like, our strands are gonna grow at the stage that they're gonna grow. There's things we can do to make it go faster, by, of course, drinking lots of water, eating lots of fruits, having lots of veggies, getting good rest, exercising, all those things. But at the end of the day, it's only going to grow so much. So you really need to stop focusing on your growth journey and how much your hair is growing by applying all these topical things and, massaging away. Like, still do it, but maybe stop focusing on only that and start focusing more so on length retention. Our hair is always growing, girlfriend, unless you're actually bald. And if you're bald, that's fine. But unless you're bald, your hair is growing, right? Like, it's growing, that's not the issue. The issue is length retention. Even my example right here that I'm experiencing right now with my edges, I know exactly why I lost my edges. I decided to wear a synthetic wig. My skin reacted to it. The hair flaked up, and the scalp flaked up, and the follicles oh, they went off. They went to a party and they're not coming back, right? Or they're coming back, but they're coming back, in their own timing. If I was having a growth issue, all of this and here would be as smooth as my skin. So I know it's not a growth issue. It's absolutely a length retention issue, and it's because of the manipulation that I imparted onto my strands. No worries, Patricia. At least you're here. So, girlfriend, that is it. That is all. Those are my 5 top things that you should really stop doing to your fine natural hair if you want to see length retention, if you want to see healthier strands. These are the tips that I use all the time. They help me, and they're just fantastic tips. Like they're real, tried and tested and true. So that is what that is. I am going to be back at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, next Friday. I believe the link is already up. It should be there. It's been there for a while. So if you want to go ahead and check that on out, it's right here on Fine Natural Hair Rocks for your viewing pleasure. If you don't know what the topic is, it is a live question and answer curls and conversations period. Ask me anything you want. It could be hair related, not hair related. It could be related to law, any of those kinds of things. Feel free to ask. Hi, Cyrus Joseph. Yes, I'm just finishing on up, heading on out. I wish each and every one of you a beautiful weekend, blessed and highly favored type weekend. You deserve everything good in this life. And thank you so much for following, loving, and supporting By Nature Her Rocks. I will definitely see you in the weekend feature video. Talk to you soon. Bye.